Here's another set of examples. We're told to evaluate each of these given that x equals 2 and y equals 3. So in each case, we'll plug in the value 2 for x and the value 3 for y, and then we'll do the math. But all of these force us to focus on the order of operations. Remember that we have to do exponents first, and then multiplication and division get done before addition and subtraction. If we have parentheses, we have to do what's in parentheses first. But within a group, we do exponents, then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. And in every single one of these, that order of operations in some form or another shows up. So let's work through these. X times y squared. Notice that we have to do the exponent, the y squared, before we multiply. We don't do x times y and then square it. We do the exponents before the multiplication. So x is 2 and y is 3. So we have 3 squared here. What I'm going to do for each of these, since these are a little bit more complicated, I'm going to rewrite the problem putting in the value of the variable. And this is always a good approach. If you can't do it in your head, or if it's a little bit tricky, rewrite the problem on the page, putting in the number for the for each variable. So instead of x times y squared, I'm going to write 2 times 3 squared. And 3 squared, I'll go ahead and do that in my head. That's 9. And now it becomes really easy. 2 times 9 is simply 18. Putting that extra step in, again, is not necessary if you can do it in your head. But when the problems get a little bit trickier, it's very, very helpful to put that step in. It can go a long way toward preventing mistakes. So I'm going to do that in all of these. Let's work across here to the next one on the top. X times y squared. Notice that in this case, the xy is in parentheses. So we have to do what's in parentheses first. So x is 2 and y is 3, so in parentheses I have 2 times 3, which is 6. So it's 6 squared, which is just 6 times 6, or 36. In this next example, 2xy squared. Well, let's rewrite it. That's 2 times x, which is 2, times y squared, and y is 3. So this is 3 squared. I'll just write a 9. Notice what I've done. I've taken the original problem and I've rewritten it. But instead of an x, I put in the 2. And instead of the y, I put in the 3, and that gave me the 3 squared, or the 9. And now I can do this. This is pretty easy. 2 times 2 is 4, times 9 is 36. I'll do the same thing here. I'll just rewrite this, but I'll put in the values for the variables. I have my 2, and then in parentheses I have x, which is 2, times y, which is 3, and that's squared. Now let's do the math here. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 squared is 36, and then that's multiplied by 2. 2 times 36 is 72. Now look at this one, 2xy squared. This is very similar to the one before it and the one before that, but now the 2 and the x and the y are all in the parentheses. So when we rewrite that, we write it that way. We put the 2 times the x, which is also a 2, times the y, which is a 3, and that's squared. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, so we have 12 squared, which is 12 times 12, or 144. Now this next one, 2x squared times y. Well, again, let's rewrite it. It's 2 times x squared, which is 2 squared, times y, which is 3. And now let's get a value. Well, that 2 squared right there is 4. So this is 2 times 4 times 3. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, and then 8 times 3 is 24. Now down here, 4x plus 3y. Well, let's rewrite it. 4x, that's going to be 4 times 2, because x is 2. And then plus 3y. That's 3 times 3. So what does that equal? Well, 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we have 8 plus 9, and that equals 17. Now in this case, 4 times x plus 3y. Let's rewrite this. 4 times, instead of the x, I'll write a 2. And instead of the 3y, I'll write 3 times 3. Now let's get a value here. This is 2 plus 9. So that's 11 in the parentheses. And we have 4 times that 11. And 4 times 11 is 44. All right, two more. Don't get tricked on these. We have negative y squared. We have to do this exponent before we apply the negative sign. So what we have here is negative y squared. It's not negative y that's being squared. Y is being squared, and then we have the negative of that. So y is 3, so this is negative 3 squared. And 3 squared is 9, so this is negative 9. Down here, we have negative y squared. Y is 3, so this is negative 3 squared, which means negative 3 times negative 3, which gives me a positive 9. So again, in each of these cases, we substituted the value in for the variable, and in every case we wrote down an intermediate step just to help us see what we were doing, and we paid attention to the order of operations, and in every case we evaluated the expression for the given values of the variables.